Ilhan Omar recently sparked controversy when she made allusions to America and then said we must tear down oppressive systems. So a lot of people made they drew the conclusion that Ilhan Omar was basically saying the political and economic system of this country needs to be destroyed and disrupted. So naturally, people are angry. But now those angry people may have some good news. There's two things if you're a critic of Ilhan Omar. First, upset brewing in Minnesota 5 primary. Omar opponent raised millions of dollars in quarter two. Very interesting. We're also now hearing there's a resolution to condemn Ilhan Omar for saying, quote, "We are not merely fighting to tear down the systems of oppression in the criminal justice system. We are fighting to tear down systems of oppression that exist in housing and education and healthcare, in employment, and in the air we breathe." Going on to allude to the fact that she wants to tear down basically the entire U.S. system. But listen, we can get to the resolution, but let's talk about what's happening. She might actually lose this primary. Apparently somebody's raised $3.2 million to go up against her. Now, to be fair, AOC defeated Michelle Crusoe Cabrera in New York's, I believe it's 14. But here's the thing. AOC raised millions of dollars, I believe like $1 million plus, and Michelle Crusoe Cabrera did not raise nearly that much. But this competitor, this rival to Ilhan Omar, is way outpacing her. Let's see what's going on. Hot Air reports. Has Ilhan Omar grown too radical for even the heart of Minneapolis? New FEC filings in the DFL primary for her seat in Congress show Omar in serious trouble. The Star Tribune reported yesterday that challenger Anton Melton Moe raised 7 times as much money as Omar, scoring $3.2 million against Omar's $471,000. Whoa! Man, that is spicy. Melton Moe now has twice as much cash on hand ahead of the August 11th primary. Wow, man. That is huge. Check this out. Melton Moe, a mediation lawyer who emerged on the DFL scene late last year to challenge Omar, told the Star Tribune he raised a staggering $3.2 million between April and the end of June, with $2 million cash left in the bank before August 11th primary. He dramatically outraised Omar, who took in $471,000 during the same time period. Omar's campaign said she has $1,111,000 left on hand ahead of the primary election. Now, she's got cash. She can spend that money. But that fundraise means something. People are putting their money where their mouth is. This could be the end of Ilhan Omar's congressional career. The fundraising gap would be striking for any newcomer challenging an incumbent. But it's especially notable in a race against Omar, a freshman Democrat and member of the Squad, who has risen to prominence as one of the first Muslim women elected to Congress. Omar herself is a prolific fundraiser, fueled in part by her national profile and her unabashed criticism of Donald Trump. Think about that. I never heard of this guy. Melton Moe, I never heard of him. Ilhan Omar's got a national profile. She can raise money from everybody. And she's only brought in $471K. This dude, $3.2 million. Who's funding this guy? It's got to be some big crazy bank, right? No, it sounds like it's coming from the people. The difference is staggering, especially when dealing with a congressional incumbent in a primary. Challengers simply don't get that kind of attention from in-party voters under normal circumstances. Unless the incumbent has proven embarrassing or unreliable, the risk in changing horses for a general election fight is usually too much of a disincentive. Is Omar that embarrassing? Hot Air says yes. And she has another strike against her as well. As I have noted before, that calculation matters a lot less in stronghold districts like MN5, where a Democrat is practically guaranteed a general election win. That means Democrats can feel safer in conducting a competitive primary, although those still rarely produce substantial challengers. Almost never a challenger who can outraise an incumbent to this degree. Where has the money come from? A lot of it is coming from outside the district, but not all of it is, the Star Tribune notes. It's a dramatic surge for Melton Moe, who reported raising nearly $400,000 between December and the end of March. The influx of money came in part from some conservative donors and pro-Israel groups like nonpartisan NORPAC, which held a virtual fundraiser for Melton Moe in May, according to data from Act Blue, an online fundraising tool. A number of individual donors outside of the district contributed the maximum amount allowed in May. He's also received donations from prominent Minnesota Democratic fundraisers such as Sam and Sylvia Kaplan. The Democrats are turning on Ilhan Omar. Wow. It's about the residents who live there, but they've certainly invited in enough outside money that now it's become more of a regional or national battle, said Todd Rapp, a longtime veteran of DFL campaigns. He said he's never seen so much money flood a single intra-party contest. It's kind of moved beyond our borders. This is one of the most epic battles in the Democratic Party's civil war. Over on the New York front, Ocasio-Cortez fended off her challenger, but the general election is coming up. I do believe it would be extremely unlikely that AOC will lose the general, but it is entirely possible. We've seen crazier things over in the UK. And if the Democratic Party is adamant about staving off this insurrection from the far left in their party, then perhaps they will actually support the Republican candidate. But we'll see. I don't think it's likely. Omar's anti-Semitic comments over the past 2 years are playing a big part in this. Much has been made about the voting power of the Somali immigrant community in Minneapolis, but there is a large Jewish vote in MN05 too. Plus, the Somali community generally feels closer to the Jewish community than Omar's rhetoric would indicate, thanks to Jewish support for their migration and integration into Twin Cities life. Did Omar see this coming? Perhaps her pals did. A couple of weeks ago, the Squad announced that it would partner on fundraising to keep themselves in Congress. Oh man, they know what's coming. The American people do not like the Squad. They do not like the far left. And Joe Biden would be wise to heed this warning. You're not going to win pandering to this fringe sect of the Democratic Party. You're not. You certainly lose people like me. Here's what they say. U.S. Rep. Ilhan Omar and the other 3 members of the group known as the Squad launched a joint fundraising committee to support their reelection. Omar, along with U.S. Reps AOC, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, recently announced they are creating the Squad Victory Fund. They'll use it to back their reelection campaigns and political action committees, which can provide support to other candidates. Ocasio-Cortez has already won her primary in New York when they launched this joint effort. Pressley doesn't appear to have a primary challenger. Only Omar and Rashida Tlaib face significant challengers, with the latter trying her best via proxy to disqualify Detroit City Council President Brenda Jones from the August 4th primary. Wow! The Squad is feeling the heat. That now looks more like a rescue mission for Omar and Tlaib. Money isn't everything in politics, but it's not nothing either. The huge influx of cash into MN05 makes it very clear that some Democrats would be happy to see the anti-Semitic Omar disappear from the national stage and maybe take her campaign skimming husband with her too. Very, very spicy stuff coming from hot air. But listen, it's not just coming from the left, it is coming from the right. Look at this resolution. Mr. Big submitted the following resolution referred to the committee. And I read you the first part. They say, whereas Rep. Ilhan Omar continued, quote, as long as our economy and political systems prioritize profit without considering who is profiting, who is being shut out, we will perpetuate this inequality. We cannot stop at the criminal justice system. We must begin the work of dismantling the whole system of oppression wherever we find it. They say, whereas Rep. Ilhan Omar has documented history of expressing anti-American sentiments, whereas Omar and other members of Congress continue to advocate for a Marxist form of government that is incompatible with the principles laid out in the founding documents of the U.S. This is great. I got to do it. Whereas Karl Marx wrote in the Communist Manifesto that, quote, when in the course of development, class distinctions have disappeared and all production has been concentrated in the hands of a vast association of the whole nation, the public power will lose its political character. Political power, properly so called, is merely the organized power of one class for oppressing another. Okay, so where is it resolved? They say resolved. The House condemns the statements of Omar, condemns members of Congress who advocate for Marxist policies, and reaffirms its commitment to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Okay, well, I love that they reference Marx. But as you can see, there is a massive backlash against Ilhan Omar specifically. I gotta say, man, I've talked to a lot of friends. And many of them don't believe that she's actually made anti-Semitic comments. They think it's propaganda. It's all lies. She's not anti-Semitic. Dude, you gotta read what she says, man. The way I describe it is that Ilhan Omar crop dusts anti-Semitism. You know what she does? She doesn't come out and just say things that shock people like, whoa, whoa. She comes out and says things where you know what crop dusting is? I use this analogy a lot. Where the plane gets real low to the ground and then sprays, pesticides or whatever. That's what she does. She gets really close. You're like, is she really going to go there? Is she really going to say that anti-Semitic thing? And then she pulls up at the last minute. And then everyone goes, well, she didn't actually say it. And you're like, yeah, but we know what she's doing. She's made references to cash, all about the Benjamins and stuff like this. And that's why people want to see her lose. It would be huge if she does. But man, she's famous, just like AOC. And that fame, that means something. But I'll tell you what, there's no one more deserving of getting knocked out of the congressional race than Ilhan Omar, in my opinion. I don't know who this Melton Moe guy is, but it seems like he's bringing a lot of cash from outside the district, but so is Ilhan Omar. But Omar's also getting propped up by the squad. There's going to be August 11th, man. It's coming up. I look forward to seeing how this plays out. But I can't say I'm surprised that she's facing a fierce challenge for the things she's said and done. I'll leave it there. I got one more segment coming up for you in just a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.